This is the Sabbath School lesson for the third quarter, 2021.
Lesson 8 from the series Rest in Christ is titled Free to Rest, ready for teaching on August 21, and I'm Percy Harrold. Tuesday, August 17, Running Away. Based on data from the World Health Organization, the WHO, the most common illness worldwide, affecting more than 300 million people each year, does not always have obvious visible symptoms. Depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide and is a major contributor to the global burden of disease. Unfortunately, often depression is not spoken about in Christianity because it can be seen as a sign of lack of faith. After all, aren't Christians always supposed to be filled with joy and happiness and the like? So, isn't depression a sign that something is wrong with our relationship with God? Most people know that this isn't true. Even Christians, faithful Christians, can at times struggle with depression, especially after a traumatic event, and it is not a sign of a lack of faith or trust in God. Again, one can read the Psalms and see the pain, suffering, and anguish that God's faithful people suffered. Sometimes a depression slowly and quietly takes hold of us, and we recognize it only when it tightens its grip. Sometimes it strikes quickly after a particularly draining emotional or physical event. For example, God's faithful prophet Elijah was completely drained emotionally and physically after Mount Carmel. In 1 Kings 18, Elijah had just seen God's miracle of fire coming down from heaven. In answer to his prayer, he had seen rain come and end a 3-year drought. Why did Elijah react to Jezebel's threat by running? Read 1 Kings 19, verses 1 to 5. 1 Kings 19, beginning at verse 1, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, also how he had executed all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, "So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow, about this time." And when he saw that, he arose and ran for his life and went to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a broom tree. And he prayed that he might die, and said, "It is enough. Now, Lord, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." Then, as he lay and slept under a broom tree, suddenly an angel touched him and said to him, "Arise and eat." Elijah had a very grueling 24 hours. This experience, coupled with a rude awakening and a death threat, served as a depression trigger for Elijah. Also, Elijah was there when the prophets of Baal were slaughtered, perhaps even some of them by his own hand, as we read in 1 Kings 18 and verse 40, which reads, "And Elijah said to them, Seize the prophets of Baal, do not let one of them escape. So they seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and executed them there." Such an event, even for a righteous cause, can easily lead to traumatic stress in those who either watch or, even worse, take part. So Elijah began to run to try to get away. Sometimes we run to the refrigerator and try to eat ourselves happy again. Sometimes we try to sleep our emotional exhaustion away. Sometimes we look for a new relationship, job, or location in our quest to run away. And sometimes we bury ourselves in more work, more deadlines and appointments, as we try harder to run away from the nameless something that is draining our joy and rest. And of course, many people use medications of some sort or another, all in an attempt to dull the pain. In the end, though, these things only mask the symptoms. They don't solve the problem, and often they can only make it worse. And as a physician myself, I'm sure the authors did not mean that if you actually have clinical depression, that you should not take your medicine. That should be a decision between you and your treating physician. This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. It's supported by the Sabbath School Department and Hope Channel Australia and is rebroadcast by Christian Record Services and through podcasts at It Is Written in the United States, Hope Channel Germany, and through Apple iTunes and SoundCloud. Remember, God is always faithful.